What's up, college football fans and Mean Green fans? Noe Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show. Today, joined by Miles, and we're going to recap this Rice game that North Texas came away with a tight victory, but a victory nonetheless to secure a spot in the conference championship game in San Antonio this Friday, December 2nd. Anyway, as always, guys, if you're a fan of college football, G5 football, any or all of the above, consider hitting that like and subscribe button because that's truly all that we talk about. All right, Miles. Well, thanks for hopping on. And how are you feeling after yesterday's game?
Yesterday was really, it was a snooze fest for the first half. In general, North Texas did not play the brand of football they've been playing this year. Offensively, Rice kind of just shut them down. North Texas a lot of 3-and-outs. Ani only had 203 passing yards. That's a very low number considering the Rice quarterback had 229 or something like that. 229 yards. So honestly, it wasn't that big of a day in general. Keka Ragsdale looked very good though. It's a very promising sign, especially going into this next game where UTSA yesterday gave up like almost 300 rushing yards to UTEP. I thought that was wild. I did not know. What was that? That was weird. But I think they were going to have a lot more energy, a lot more passion-ish going into this. Honestly, this is a pretty big game for North Texas for both teams too, because Rice had bowl eligibility on the line. Defensively, Katie Davis had this game-sealing interception. I think they counted that as interception, right? I'm not quite for sure if they did or not because it was fourth down anyway. The ball would have been ours, but did it count, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So not the best of games, but they still won, and that's what matters. Rice is a weird, sneaky team. They beat UAB. They almost beat Western Kentucky. They played okay against UTSA. It's a win that can help them for this next game. And now you're playing in the biggest game all year. We've said a lot of games are big for North Texas this year. This is the biggest game they've had since, I don't know, when was the last time? 2017. And FAU, in my opinion, was significantly better than UTSA than they are now. But that's beside the point. It was a good enough game to where North Texas has a lot of talking points. And honestly, Keka Ragsdale has probably been the best back this year, even with Oscar when he was healthy. So not a whole lot to say. It was a 21-17 final. There's not a whole lot of fireworks, but North Texas did prevail, and I think Luttrell deserves a little bit of recognition and credit for what he did this entire season. That UNLV game could have been the slipping point. They could have completely fallen off after that. They gained it back. They played pretty well to end the season 7-5. I thought that was better than what I thought. I was expecting 9-3. They should have gone 9-3. 7-5 is not bad.
Yeah, and kind of just echoing, one of your tweets you recently put out about, if you're a North Texas fan, do whatever you got to do to get down there this Friday at 7:00 in San Antonio. I know a lot of North Texas alumni, really have a lot going on, grinders, and work a lot of hours, but whatever you got to do, if it's got to be a quick turnaround, just whatever you got to do, get down there. It's just, we've said it a lot this season, but we really mean it this time. This is the biggest game of maybe Coach Luttrell's career at UNT up to this point. A lot on the line, obviously conference championship. So do whatever you can to get down there because it's going to be a pretty hostile environment, probably, for a North Texas perspective. So anything and everything helps. But kind of refocusing back to this Rice game, yeah, it was kind of like the weather was a really ugly win, but a win nonetheless. And, at this point, really just trying to be as optimistic as possible. But we talked a little bit about it pre-tape that hopefully that playing Rice is weird. They're not really the best team. They're not world beaters, but they're just a team you don't really want to play. I think didn't they beat Houston or take them to the wire as well as those other?
They took Houston to the wire. They took I think it was Western to the Wire too. Maybe I could be completely wrong on that, but they're a weird sneaky team. They're always like this too. They're always
Mhm.
this weird team that's maybe not gonna get. They're probably gonna get a bowl this year, but they're always that weird sneaky team. They always do something like that. I don't know why. Not good
Yeah.
enough to solidify themselves for a bowl, but always make it a game.
Hmm. Yeah. So, exactly. I mean, there was times where they looked like they were going to ruin things for North Texas, and North Texas obviously held in and came away with the victory. But yeah, man, it's gonna be tight though. I mean, this Friday, it's just again hoping that close game kind of gives it a little bit of a spark, a little bit of a okay, we really gotta tighten up like we've never tightened up, and just by any means necessary. I mean, if it causes for Ikaika Ragsdale to do another 120-yard whatever he had against Rice, 122, yeah, there we go, day, or if Ani's got to pass for 350, I mean, whatever it takes. I mean, good God in heaven. I mean, the series is tied with UTSA at 5-5 now, right?
Yes, it's they've played 10 games. It's 5-5. We had the lead last year when we won. Now it's this year. They won the first game. So if we can take the lead in the series, that'd be pretty nice.
That would be pretty nice. And to win the conference while doing it while both teams are leaving, it's pretty cinematic the way this thing is kind of played out. And I'm curious to see what the spread will be. I would think they would give UTSA 10. I think they'll be favored by 10.
That's what I was saying. I said 10.5. And
Yeah.
late last night they came out with what was a projection from Brett McMurphy. They came out with a projection and it said 12.5 UTSA. And I was
Okay.
like, I think that's a little too high, especially for a game it's a conference championship game, but it's also a rivalry. And there's not a whole lot
Hmm.
like Purdue and Michigan. Now Purdue is really good against the underdog, but still, a lot of these guys are not rivals. This is a rivalry, and we know what happened last time. There was apparently a fight in the tunnel, or there was like a big
Hmm.
argument in the tunnel. These people, these players, do not like each other. The fans don't like each other. If there's going to be, they're promoting to get 40-ish thousand people in that dome, which 27,000, which was the attendance for the UNT game, was really loud. I can't imagine how loud it's going to be with almost not double, but like 10 to 12,000 more people.
Yeah.
So I think 10.5 is a good number, and I would never bet on UNT because that's just against moral values. But it should be a touchdown game, in
Hmm.
my opinion. It's gonna be a touchdown game, barn burner touchdown game.
Yeah. Something else to highlight. I mean, Varkey's Gums. I forgot. I know the official Twitter account, North Texas. They tweeted out the yardage he has for something, but he broke the school record for most receiving yards by a tight end in school history yesterday. And dude, he's only a redshirt freshman, man. So if I mean, well, if the Light the Tower and IL Collective can do whatever they can to keep him here, that would be great. But we'll see how that plays out. But man, just a really, really explosive player in Barkey's Gums. And, Jake Roberts on the other side. Man, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here, just a win against UTSA. But man, really hope they can utilize both those guys because they're both just super, they can just play a really big role in the passing game as well as the blocking game. And what I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, Isaiah Johnson looks he doesn't look 100%. And, obviously you have Ikaika Ragsdale, but missing Attaway and Io, that's big hits. And it's just, what can you do to fill that in? I mean, I don't know if they'll work Quaylon in more than he's been, or what they'll do there, but hopefully they can find, another guy to kind of lean on too, in the running back room. But, yeah, man. I mean, shoot, dude. I mean, I know we didn't really talk about Rice too much, but
Mhm.
what are your thoughts about this UTSA game, man?
Well, I think this Rice game is going to prepare us. It prepared us for a game where if we can't get anything going off passing offensively, we have to go on the run. And I wanted to ask you a question, and this is a pretty interesting question.
Yeah.
Does UTSA focus on taking away the tight ends since the tight ends have been used very much this year? It's been a very bigger target for Ani compared to I can't remember the last time we've used this many tight ends. Or do they try to take away the running game, which right now, not quite 100%, but
Mm-hmm.
UTSA on the defensive line, not quite 100% either. Overall, UTSA is a very banged up team. I listened to JJ Perez, I listened to his and Greg, their post game thing, and they're talking about how there's a lot of injuries on that team. And
Mm-hmm.
they had the same injuries from the past game that we played earlier this year. So does UTSA go for North Texas run game, or do they go for the tight end / passing game, because they know what Ani can do? If
Mm-hmm.
Ani executes some of those plays for that first game,
Mm-hmm.
we win by double digits.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if UTSA does the same, that's a whole lot of what ifs. But
Right.
do they do that, or they take away the run game, tight end or run or receiving or run game, especially
Yeah.
tight ends?
If I was UTSA, I would probably come out in not loading the box necessarily, just because our running back room is so beat up, and just see what they can do as far as stopping the run without loading the box. And if that's successful and they're, stopping the run without, again, quote unquote, loading the box, then don't stop doing that, obviously, because then it's going to be harder to pass. But, if Ragzel or whoever else is back there is gouging them, then you switch immediately to load the box up. And then, like, okay, like, now let's just see if Austin Ani can beat them with his arm. And last time, I mean, it just took him about 2 quarters to get there, but I mean, dude, can they like warm up for a whole quarter? I mean, pregame. I'm being kind of somewhat
Yeah.
serious. I mean, just like go out there and just play
I
a,
agree.
a flipping quarter worth of snaps for him. Because if I'm them, I wouldn't fear the run game as much as I have, just because of the injuries. But if Ragzel or whoever's back there is making it, making them okay, like we got to tighten up, then I would, if I'm them, I would commit to stopping that, and I would just see what Ani can do with his arm, because unfortunately last time they played, Ani couldn't get it done there. Well, I mean, not until kind of too
Late in
late.
the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something though, man. Like I emotionally, man, I really, that last loss to UTSA hurt. That was one of the most painful losses in North Texas, my fandom with them anyway. That really hurt. And I'm driving down there on a Friday,
Are
taking off
you?
work. Yes, I am. And I
That's
got to
good.
be back.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I got to be back Saturday, like early for my son's game. So it's gonna be a depressing ride back, man, if that doesn't go the right way. But
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do to get down there for this one. But man, I mean, I don't know. Anything else we need to touch on? I know we're just kind of getting kind of
I
ranty
have like
here.
1.5 things,
Okay, let's
and
go.
my
Yeah.
response to my own question, which is kind of weird, but my response is the reason why I asked is because UTEP ran the ball so well against UTSA yesterday, and they defended UTSA's run game, which is now injured. Brady got injured. His arm went his one arm or leg went the other way, and it was really disgusting to
Mhm.
see. But it's just the complete opposite happened. And if North Texas can take advantage of that, especially with Clark being out for UTSA, that's huge for our defensive backs, because Clark is a massive receiver.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like we have to be able to, if you're UTSA, you have to be able to stop Ani and those explosive plays, because so far, if they can kind of bounce off of the running game from North Texas, who's not 100% healthy, UTEP's more healthy on the run game, they should be able to contain North Texas. But at the same time, UTSA is not healthy enough on that defense to be able to fully. Last year, I would have been really worried. I've been really worried. Now, of course, last year I was also really worried, and we ran all over them. But that was also raining. Um, but another one last thing is UTEP had like 8 false starts. The crowd's gonna be loud, loud,
Mhm.
loud. Do you think Ani is because UTEP was using a backup third string quarterback? Do you think Ani is more experienced with his more experience that he has? Do you think he's able to have this team not have so many pre-snap penalties and all these things that the crowd might affect? Because the crowd's gonna be really loud,
Mhm.
35, 40,000 on a Friday night. Do you think that could be a problem for North Texas offensively?
Yeah, I do think it could be a problem. And yeah, as kind of a two-way answer to that question. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
as experienced as they are, I mean, NFL guys though, I mean, they go to the Superdome in New Orleans, and it's a factor. I mean, it's just so
Mhm.
loud. All this experience in the world can't necessarily save you. However, kind of talking both sides of my mouth, right? The fact that Ani is experienced and Manasseh Mose is so experienced and kind of can just be that captain, that general on the offensive line of like, okay, guys, tighten up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That gives me a lot of, that makes me feel better about it. Again, hopefully every North Texas fan that listens to this, hopefully they can bring at least 3 or 4 of their friends that are maybe a little bit more casual than they are, just because man, they need everybody in the world or North
And
Texas
it's
does.
affordable ticket prices too.
Yeah. I mean, and carpool, whatever you got to do to get down there. One thing though about the UTEP UTSA game is Gavin, what's his name, Hardison, the
Uh-huh.
quarterback.
Did not play.
Um, yeah, he didn't play. Is that his last name though, Hardison?
Yes, I'm like 99% sure. I think.
Um, so they had Brownholtz. I didn't watch the game, but I just pulled up the stats. He had 51 of their total rushing yards. He was their third leading rusher, and I mean, I just don't know if that this do a big wrench into UTSA's game plan against them, not expecting such a mobile QB, and which makes me think. And one last question for you, I guess. Do you think we might see, not because of lack of efficiency from Ani, like that's not the angle I'm taking, but just from what Stone Earl brings in the packages that we've seen him come
Mhm.
in and running, do you think we might see how many, if any, drives do you think we'll see that feature Stone Earl in some sort of package?
That's a very good question because I was thinking about that and I was talking um, to Mr. Failure, no names please on Twitter, and we were talking about
Yeah.
that and how are they going to be able to implement something that's a little bit more unique, more creative plays like you and I didn't really think about using Earl, but that's a very good idea and I think it's a possibility going to be needed, especially in the red zone, because Ani, while he's a very talented quarterback in a few ways, I think if they can kind of just stack the box offensively and kind of push Earl to the right or left side, because they did pretty well when they had um, those it was a more like a set running play and of course when they threw the Varkeis gums that worked out perfectly fine, but I think you have to be able to have different creative plays in this game because UTSA is I feel like they're gonna be on their heels because they saw what Ani could do last game. They saw how he hit shorter in stride for a touchdown, hit gums in stride for a touchdown. They can have explosive plays. We're a very explosive team if we execute. So it's just based off of what they are expecting on that certain drive. And I think Stone Earl is a very hard nosed running back or quarterback that can run the ball, not running back. Um, I think it'll be important for them to be able to utilize him just at least once or twice.
Yeah.
Just get some different types of plays. Horton is a very quick dude, but they figured him out a little bit.
Mhm.
We've seen him do those jet sweeps and all that, and it has not worked. Just implementing him, that's a very good idea, and I think they should. Will they? I don't know. I'm not Seth Luttrell, but I hope they do. I hope they kind of throw something out at UTSA they might not be expecting because I don't think we put Earl in the game for the UTSA game the first time. I don't think so. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. This is a really big game. I'm so excited. The game ended. They were kneeling the ball, and I was purchasing my ticket right there on the Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, we're gonna head down there. We're gonna leave about 9 a.m. that morning. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited. It should be a really really good atmosphere. You know, although the Rice game wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be, they still clinched it. They still won. They pulled it out. Um, and now let's see what we got.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, Miles. Well, thank you so much as always, and go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.